r/sex workers. Daysibug 12501 says, getting threatened. Anyone else get text messages like this? Ugh, not scared of them, and I know they don't know my location. But wow, they said they are a female. Included photo. Boabibot says, Lmao, what the frick else does he have besides a gun? Like a samurai sword? An axe? Lmao, okay, badass. Akalaltha Spurious says, wow, crazy, what a frick ein shitbag. You know you can be scared. It's honestly okay to be so. I've been stalked and threatened before, and it can get scary. Best advice I can give is to disengage. I feel like these kind of people tend to get more obsessive and actually dangerous if you try to deflect their moves rather than ignoring them. And I know how tough it can be to not know what might be coming. But ignoring them makes them disengage in my experience. Hope you're safe. NF_660 says, I get ones that pretend to be cops. When I request their name, badge number, and station, they tell me they can't give it to me. Here's a clue, they are obligated, by law, to tell you the information when asked. It makes me giggle lol. Smakingan21 says, they most likely won't do shit. A real killer wants to be on your good side and will do and say anything to earn your trust, then take you out. The ones who are all bark have absolutely no bite. That being said, don't engage. You are still feeding this bridge troll. They get off on doing this to as many escorts as they can, and you will just make them get fake numbers and hit you up harassing you and getting off because they think they have power over you. Once I started doing auto replies and not responding to them begging for attention, I cut down on this shit like 99%. If they even get past the auto reply and scream and still say dumb shit, I effectively end the convo by saying deposit required. They usually give up and go, damn, I can't troll or waste her time because there is a paywall now. A serious client will pay the time waster and troll moves on to the low hanging fruit to get their rocks off. If I showed you my text message inbox, it would be like a wall of unanswered auto replies, all sent to guys who aren't serious. Then a few convo from time wasters who did scream that ended after 3 messages, and I shut them down asking for a deposit. And then real clients and regular text convos. Which is how it should be. Stop giving energy to these losers, turn them into lurkers who don't get shit unless they act right instead. Fuzzy Distribution 79 says, the best advice I can give is to never engage. Never. I learned that the hard way, and it's been super hard to ignore the threats and weirdos, but the second you engage they begin to obsess, and you'll get these daily from new numbers, same person. That's what happened to me. Ignore, block, and continue on. r/sex workers. Natural_contact 5366 says, what is it honestly like working at brothels? I once read an article about a brothel in Nevada where they interviewed an owner, and he was going off about all the women he blah 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 IDC. I wanna hear from the sex workers who keep those places in business. I've always worked independently, but I'd think working in a brothel would be safer and cool to be around other sex workers. But IDK anything of what it's really like, so hit me with reality PLZ. Also am curious about brothel work from everywhere in the world, not just the user. Feel free to share your experiences. Princess AM says, brothel work in Germany can range from okay, you rent a room and do your thing, to disastrous, super high volume, low rates, starting at 30 sometimes, and theme parties, which are basically free use parties. There is very cheap brothels here with mostly Eastern European girls that don't know their rights. There was a study a few years back that had syphilis rates alone at 8% in the study group. I feel it got better recently, but Germany is still a hotspot for cheap sex, due to it being legal and the proximity of poorer countries. Emiliro Seal Pazzo says, I've done both independent and brothel work in the US. Brothels are a completely different animal compared to independent work. Honestly, I have to be in a good headspace to be able to go to envy for the brothels. Being stuck in a building for at minimum a week at a time is hard. Yeah, you can charge higher prices than you can when you're independent, but you get 35-50% of what you charge. The safety aspect is nice, and knowing clients can't rob you or get away with chargebacks is also nice. It's very expensive to get started and continue to work legally. There are pros and cons, so it's something to really think about. Maybe give it a week trial. But what you described was Dennis Hoff. He was a terrible human being, and once providers have left a house he owned, they all talk about how much better other houses are. Even though he's dead, those houses still encourage the cutthroat and competitive mentality. Blabalo says, had a conversation about that literally a day with a provider here in Italy. She told me that if I was just going after the money, I could make tons in this brothel in Switzerland that's close by, but it will become like working in a factory, having to follow a strict schedule, and working like in an assembly line. I so much prefer doing like I do, with my job plus escorting and choose who and where. There's also places, like this one in Austria, that are both a brothel but not really. It's like a spa with music, a buffet, a swimming pool and a garden to relax and tan while girls walk around and approach the clients approach them, and then they can go upstairs or in the client rooms in the nearby hotel and then back on the lower floors again. I think they pay, like the clients, for the daily entry and then they keep what they get. Not sure, never been there myself, just read the client reviews and such. Not Quitinera says, I went to one of the brothels in Nevada for a week and ended up spending more money than I made. It costs a lot to get all your testing and licensing done, plus the cost of travel and renting plus DECORATING your room. In that first week a lot of that time is just getting set up, going to Walmart for supplies and decor, getting your photos taken, seeing the doctor, registering with the sheriff's office, etc. Nobody there wants to see the new girl, and it was slow as frick to boot. In 1 week I was only into lineups and talked to maybe 5 guys at the bar. The atmosphere could be cool, it was neat to be around so many other amazing Southwestern, but generally nobody wants to put in effort to get to know you when you're new, because the vast majority of women only visit once or twice and never go back. The other women were definitely kind to me, and I would have liked to be friends, but I'm one of the people who never went back. It definitely wasn't for me. But if you can hack it, I'm pretty sure some of those women have become millionaires working there. r/sex workers. Hoax for Days says, client left immediately after arriving. Well, it finally happened. I had a client show up today, screened and everything, got to my in-call location, saw me, and said no thanks and left. In the almost 10 years I have been in this industry, this was a first, and my ego is a bit bruised, and I'm feeling kind of fragile at the moment. Like I don't get it, my pics are up to date, my weight is the same, etc. When I asked him why we was leaving he said it's just a feeling, no elaboration. Oh well, can't win 'em all I suppose. Hosmt_gaming says, probably thought it was a sting. King Kidma says, that's what I was thinking too. Ferdis says, maybe he was a cheater that had cold feet. Migalat says, I'm guessing either a first timer and cold feet, or got nervous it was a trap/setup. Hoax for Days says, but he's a P411 member, so he seems like a seasoned hobbyist, so cold feet seems unlikely. Upstairs Cut 83 says, wow, this happened to me once. I was hosting in calls and I had spots to fill up, so I had a guy tell me to come down meet him and then he will come up with me. I went down meet him and then he ghosts. Now out of the woodwork he is constantly harassing me from different numbers wanting to meet again and mend things. Flat Employment 3011 says, "You know what? These people are pretty, I'm weird for the most part, lol it's true. Was he at least classy enough to offer something for your time, or will you just keep the deposit? On a scale of 1 to 10 with Jason Momoa as a 10, where would scale that guy?" Hoax for Days says, "I don't do deposits, and no, he didn't give me anything for my time, and we spent days going back and forth setting this appointment up too. It's just so weird. And he was a 3, lol." FK Credit 472 Regs says, "That it was days going back and forth over an apt in retrospect is probably a sign he's a huge flake. / I think with some of these flakes they can have autopilot take over until they get to the parking lot or even the in-call before they snap out of it and bail. Additionally, complete cognitive dissonance about their own appearance is common with men. I can count on one hand how many walkouts I've had. The most notable was a man who thought I'd be thin and looked like an actual I'm walrus lol. Don't let it get to you. It's definitely him, not you." Violet Vu says, "I can totally relate to feeling fragile, and I'm sorry that happened to you. It's most likely something going on his end, and not about you. I've heard some guys even enjoy making a provider feel rejected or not good enough. Some clients have volatile relationships to providers and sex in general." Robert Lee Fry says, "Honestly, if your pics are up to date, and he mentioned a feeling, it likely had nothing to do with your appearance, so don't let it bother you. It was more likely he got spooked either on his way to your room. Because our society frowns on us making money with our assets, it makes a lot of guys very paranoid, especially those new ones, but also experienced, but he may have felt he was walking into a sting or robbery setup etc. Just saying, it was just a vibe, feeling. So just keep doing whatever makes you happy, and honestly never let others' options affect you negatively anyways. Regardless." That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.